Good evening. If you happen to reach this channel and you happen to be watching right now as we are live, this is Hope Talk. Owen Hendricks here as your studio host, and with me is Dr. Kyle Grebe. And as promised, we are going to look at some very important topics tonight concerning health. I know we haven't been on broadcasting for a while, but due to some technical problems, we had to first get those things sorted out before we would want to go live. So I'm happy to announce that we will be doing this on a regular basis now, as the Lord allows us to. We're going to try and do this once a week, this slot in particular, and it's called The Doctor is In with Dr. Kyle Grebe, who is a senior registrar and also cardiothoracic surgeon, specializing in lungs and heart and everything to do with the chest. So he is the expert in this field. I'm just the host tonight, and we do encourage you to invite friends right now to also watch along with us. This program, it's very important. I think it's life depends on this as well. There's no consultation going to be taking place, but the doctor would be sharing and some good information with us. I think I can, say this safely because I had gone through an episode about 2 years ago, just over 2 years ago, where Dr. Grebe was very, very instrumental and played a big role within the saving of my life in terms of my heart. And the open heart surgery that I had undergone. So I'm grateful to the Lord for his hands and grateful for the wisdom that God had granted him and the other team members who were there that day, that morning at 7 o'clock, 7:30 in the morning. I'm here only by the grace of God and by the skill, the work that God has allowed them to do. So thank you once again for that, Dr. Grebe. And if the colleagues are perhaps watching this, who were there that morning, a big, huge thank you to you as well. God bless you and the work of your hands. So without any further ado, we're going to look at a few of the points that Dr. Grebe is going to highlight us with tonight, or share with us tonight and educate us about. I must confess, when we talked about this a little earlier, I felt so guilty. I felt so convicted when he mentioned a couple of things here that I am not doing. So I better get down to it as well. It's one thing being a hearer of the word. It's another thing being a doer. And aren't we all, don't we all fail when it comes to doing? We hear, we participate in the conversation, but we don't all do it. So I need to, just shape up a bit here and get down to some real serious stuff as well. Otherwise, what was the point of giving me a brand new chance in life again? So we're going to look at the holistic approach to heart health tonight. The doctor's going to be talking to us, and also how exercise is critically important, and how a healthy diet alongside of exercise is as equally important as exercise. And then we're going to look at how the heart and the mind connect with each other. All right. The Bible says, as a man thinketh in his heart, so is he. And it's amazing how the heart is mentioned throughout Scripture. The heart is deceitful above all things and desperately wicked. Who can know it? Jesus himself went on to say, out of the abundance of the heart, the mouth speaketh forth. So there's much to say about the heart. The heart is the most important organ, I believe, the organ that keeps you alive. The organ that I have right now has a hybrid valve, aortic valve. So I'm a mixture of, I don't know. I can't even explain it. I don't know what the medical terms are for that. I'm going to mess it up and look like a total idiot if I'm going to even attempt to describe that to you. But my dear friend and brother in the Lord, Dr. Kyle Grebe, senior registrar and cardiothoracic surgeon, is here with us tonight to share from his expert view and from his concern for so many people out here tonight, including myself and many other and especially for you who are in ministry, I must say this: it is stressful, it is hard work, it is really, man, it is a mental exercise. I think that if you are not in a good shape, it will take you out. It will take you out. So it's not anybody, it's not child play. It is really quite serious. So, Dr. Threber, once again, I thank you for being on this program tonight at Hope Talk, where we are bold and unapologetic. We speak about the hardcore things, the hairy issues, the gut level issues in life. That's what we talk about. And I am so humbled to be able to have you on this program here tonight, and you'll never know what this means to me, sir.
Yeah.
So
Thank you
really,
so much for having me. I really appreciate you giving me this platform on your on your podcast, and I really thank the Lord for bringing our paths together, that our paths crossed. Uh, I mean, you were a fit guy. You never even expected to end up on the operating table,
yeah.
but the Lord works in mysterious ways. And
Mm,
at the day, we never thought that we'd be 2 years later.
mm.
So we thank the Lord for that, and like I said, greatly honored and appreciative that you have me on your podcast, giving me this platform to talk about all things heart related, heart matters, heart health. Very important topic. Like you say, it's the most important organ. It keeps you alive, but not only keeps you alive, but also keeps you energetic, and gives you the energy to live life. And like you said, the Bible mentions the heart many times. So it's a very important organ, both
Mm.
physically and spiritually. Yeah.
Yeah, all right. I'm looking forward to this tonight. So I've got a notebook here with me. So I'm going to be taking notes as you talk. I might disappear out of shot here tonight to those viewers, but it does not mean that I'm not here. I just want to give the doctor, this is his slot. It will happen every week. We try to get the schedules going right and smoothly. It might not be the same night every week, but guaranteed it would be one night in a week as of tonight. And the doctor graciously agreed to do that. I know he has a busy schedule. And we want to also thank his family tonight. I want to thank his family. Stacy, thank you very much. And the kids and the mom-in-law, thank you very much. Thank you very much for allowing Dr. Kyle Grebe here tonight to be on this podcast. I am really grateful, and I really want to say that from my heart to you as a family. We know that he needs to spend time with his family too. A family is very important. So, Dr. Grebe, don't mind, sir. I'm going to disappear out of shot as I give it over to you, and then you can do your thing there, sir. I will just put up all the stuff here that you need, and then yeah, you're good to go. All
Okay.
right.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for handing
God
over
bless.
the baton. I think let's start with an understanding of what is the heart, where is the heart, how does it function, and I think we speak about the heart in different contexts, but as an organ, what exactly is the heart? So the heart is basically a muscle made up of four chambers. And basically, what it does is collects blood and it pumps it forward, collects blood from the body, that's been called the deoxygenated blood, into the right side, passes through the heart, and it goes into the lungs where it collects the oxygen, then takes that oxygenated blood back into the left side, where it pumps it towards the body. And this is what the heart does, pumps every second for your whole life. And the reason why this is important is because once it stops, well, basically, you are no more. So this is why it's important to keep your heart healthy. And then another part of the heart anatomy is that the heart itself, although it's a muscle and its job is to pump blood towards the body, the heart itself also needs blood. So what there is three main arteries that come off the heart that feed the heart itself. So there's two that come off the left side, and there's one that comes around the back and feeds the right side of the heart. And these are the arteries that, when you hear of someone going for a bypass operation, a triple bypass, quadruple bypass, these are the arteries that get blocked. And then when they get blocked, blood doesn't flow towards the muscle gets starved of oxygen. That's when you get chest pain, and that's when you have a heart attack. And heart attack and heart disease, to some extent, can be what is known as a silent killer as well, because as it progresses, you might not know that you have heart disease, because what happens is these arteries that feed the heart, they progressively get narrower and narrower, and it's only when they are too narrow for sufficient blood to flow to the muscle that you find you become symptomatic. And a lot of the times it's either too late or it's severe enough that you need an operation. So that's why it's also known as the silent killer, and it is one of the top causes of death worldwide. South Africa is a bit of a different context, given the pandemic of HIV/AIDS and TB and the violence that they have in the country. So it's not top, but it is still one of the top 5. But globally, heart disease and heart attacks is one of the top killers in the world, along with lung cancer or cancers in general. Okay, so now that we know what the heart is, how it functions, and why it's important, we can look at why is it important to keep your heart healthy. This is what this show is about, is to talk about heart health. As your heart is a pump, it takes good oxygenated blood to all the organs in your body, to your brain, to your lungs, to your stomach, to your kidneys, and it makes sure that blood flows. If your heart becomes weak, it means the pump is not pumping blood forward, so there's a back pressure, there's a backflow. That's when you start to get swollen legs, you start to get shortness of breath because your lungs become a bit fluid overloaded. And these are all signs that your heart is starting to give a bit of trouble. And these things come over a long period of time. That's why it's good to be intentional about your heart health. You have to be intentional, like I say. You have to have a plan for your health. When you're young, it's easy. You have a lot of time to go to gym. You have a lot of time to exercise. You eat, even if you're not eating healthy, your body has a buffer, so you don't feel that effects until later in life, when you become a bit busy. You have a family, you have a job, and then these things, your health and your heart health and your fitness takes a backseat for all the other pressures in life. And that's why it's important to be intentional about it and to have the discussion, and to know about these things. So today we're going to just have a look at the 3 main areas or spheres where you have to pay attention and be intentional with regards to heart health. These 3 spheres include exercise, diet, and mental or spiritual well-being. And these are things that we all know. We've been taught since we were kids. You have to exercise, you have to eat healthy, you have to manage your stress levels. So we all know about it, but it's good to reiterate these things. So today we're gonna look at these 3 things, looking at exercise, diet, as well as mental, or the mind-heart connection. But like I said, usually when you get a bit older and life takes over, you can't find time to do all of these things. So that's why it's important to know that it doesn't have to be big changes. A lot of the time we think we need to make big changes. We need to rearrange everything and go run 5Ks every night. We need to go and run a marathon. We need to go to gym for every day. But what we often overlook is that small changes in your daily life can impact, can have a compound impact and lead to big changes later down the road. And it also builds momentum. It's better to set smaller goals, smaller attainable goals, and celebrate those goals to build momentum and to build motivation. So things like if you're trying to squeeze in some exercise, rather than planning to go for a 5K run or going to the gym, you can start with exercises at home. Do bodyweight exercises, planking, push-ups, lifting everyday objects at home. Um, Even if you want to plan to go for a run, rather than planning to do a 5K, just plan to put on your shoes and get out of bed and take a walk. These are small things that once you've done it, the momentum gets built in, and then after a while, you'll see yourself doing more and achieving more. So that's exercise. In terms of diet, we all know things like processed food, monosaturated fats are very bad for your heart health. These are the things that cause these arteries to narrow over time, put you at risk of high levels of cholesterol, that's the fatty acids, and atherosclerosis, which is the plaques that form in these arteries due to damage in the lining, due to inflammation. Usually, this inflammation is secondary to things like smoking, which is another big one, which everybody knows. Even smokers know smoking is not good. Smoking is bad for your health. Even the box says it. But it's again one of those things where you know something, but you think that you know better. But they say to know and not do is to not know. So these are small things that play a big role in heart health. So cutting out saturated fats, cutting out processed food, and switching to whole grain lentils and legumes for protein. Eating high protein diets as well. It's good for diet and for heart health. And then again, it doesn't necessarily have to be big, expensive foods. Small changes in your diet, small changes, and that builds over time, will eventually have a positive outcome. And then we look at the mind-heart connection, or the mental space as well. High levels of stress, anxiety, these push up your blood pressure. High levels of cortisol also cause stress on the heart and stress on your arteries. And these finding good ways to cope with these situations is where we need to focus on and be intentional when it comes to heart health. And these are things like meditation, and prayer. I think people often underestimate the power of prayer. People often use prayer as a last resort, or just like a go-to quick thing. But deep-seated meditation and prayer, and resting in the peace of the Lord, this is also good for heart health, good for anxiety, for stress levels, and just for recentering yourself and realigning with the Lord. These are things that can really help to prevent heart disease, and high levels of stress and blood pressure. So these are like I said, these are things that we know. These are things that we are all well aware of, but it's sometimes very difficult for us to put into action, or to practice what we preach, in a sense. and even for myself, I'm not just standing and sort of preaching to everyone saying you must do this, you must that. I myself find myself in this situation as well, where over time the pressures of work, which is can be quite stressful at times, and quite time demanding, physically demanding, over the past few years, have also neglected exercise and diet, and I'm actually putting into practice what I'm discussing with you now, making small steps, making small adjustments, trying to build up that momentum. And then another thing that helps in this regard is to build a community around you. It's very difficult to do this on your own. So getting a buddy, getting family members involved to keep you accountable will definitely help to keep you motivated, and creating a system that allows for you to continue and to grow. So again, example for exercise is taking a walk with the family, every once a night, once a week, maybe taking a walk with the family. That gives you time to spend together as a family, bonding. So that takes care of your mind, gives you the stress, and gets your exercise in as well. So these are all things that we can build into and holistically improve our heart health, improve our vigor for life, improve our time on earth as well. Because not only when your heart is healthy do you feel better, but obviously also live longer. And the longer the Lord allows you on earth, the more you can do His work and bring joy. So I don't know if you have anything to include there, or if you have anything to add.
Well, Doctor, yes, no, you've mentioned quite a number of things here that made me think. I sat here and I listened. I was listening to you, and I thought to myself, everything that the doctor is talking about is what I am not doing. Wow, and how many of us perhaps are there? I mean, let's face it. Confession is good for the soul.
Yeah.
I need to say
to I include myself in this as well. Like I say, I'm someone who's also
oh my word,
momentum. But it's something that I know is vitally important, not only for me but for my family as well. Like I say, my wife and my kids. If I allow my heart to give in, that's knowing that I could have done better, knowing that I could have been better. I mean, that's just selfishness to another level.
When I think of it, when I think about it, I didn't realize that I had this huge problem, this life-threatening problem. I think I was relatively active. I played golf at least twice a week, sometimes 3 times a week. So it was every week. Every week I was on the golf course, and that is quite a lot of walking.
Walking, yes, no.
And I felt good. But progressively over time, I think when it came here close to pandemic, it was when that hit. And yes, my wife and I were down with COVID, and it was after COVID and when lockdown was lifted, that I went back to the golf course, and wow, I was in trouble. I couldn't even walk. A kilometer would have been too far to walk. I could not even walk 10 meters, 20 meters, and without feeling that I was going to pass out. And the scary part of it all was I could not even signal to the buddies that I was playing with, the other golfers. I was in trouble. They were going ahead and just walking ahead of.
COVID was a multifactorial issue. Like you said, there was the lockdown issue, so you were at home. You lived a sedentary lifestyle because you couldn't move out of the house. You couldn't, go for a run or do what you wanted to do, or play golf like
Yes.
you would. So that's one thing that's holding down. Then having COVID itself, attacking the lungs, that as well takes a while to recover from that as well.
Yeah.
And what they call in sort of this post-COVID syndrome as well, where you still have the shortness of breath, you still have sort of this chest pain and this tiredness, and it takes a while to work out of your system.
Yeah.
But I think also for that long period where a lot of us work, in the house, I think a lot of people try to set up their home gyms and run around the house. I know we tried to get some gym equipment and just run around the garden and keep fit.
Yeah.
They had all the challenges of
Yes.
this one to do 20 push-ups or something. So that was a way that we tried to keep active. But just in general, the limited movement, and again, if you look at being isolated, feeling of not knowing the amount of people that we lost during COVID, there's a lot of attack on your mentality and your spirituality.
Right. Sure.
So even just that as well affecting your level of motivation and your level of drive, and affecting your heart in that regard. So the health effect total.
I agree with you. And this thing, it creeps up on you like a thief in the night. You wouldn't even know that you have this problem, and all of a sudden it manifests itself, and there you are. You find yourself in trouble, and then it's almost too late. Cardiac is what I was.
There are high risk factors for heart disease. So someone that is overweight, someone that has diabetes, hypertension, smokers are obvious high risk people, patients for heart disease. So there is a type, that you can identify. These are high risk factors, but that's not always the patient that comes. The person that comes is not always ticking all those boxes. Sometimes it can be familial. So you can have. So that's why it's also important to look at your family history to know, are you at risk of these things? If you have parents who died early of heart attacks, if you've had other family members, and it's important to keep this at the back of your mind that you are at high risk for also having these heart disease or at risk of, if we talk about a heart attack. That's why it's important to know the symptoms potentially of heart attack.
So it's important that the family history is taken into consideration, and if there had been that type of history, or if there is that type of history, it's one of the maybe red flags for you. Not necessarily, but it could possibly be. It could possibly
not necessarily you are going to have it, but if you start having the symptoms because you've had a family history, there might be a genetic component where you are also at risk. So if you do start having chest pain, shortness of breath, unexercising, so that's something we didn't actually go into, which I think is a good segue now to just talk about, the signs of a heart attack. There's the typical signs of heart. It's the left-sided chest pain, with the pain radiating down your arm, into the jaw. So they call it a crushing pain, crushing chest. You have a cement block on your chest, and there's also this feeling of doom, this feeling of impending doom. These are the classic signs of a heart attack. And as I described earlier, this is when the arteries that feed your heart are critically occluded or critically blocked.
Sure.
And then there are other signs which are not as typical, but you still have to look out for. And these signs are usually when you are exercising or when you are walking, you feel the discomfort in your chest. It can be a feeling of heartburn. It can be a feeling of shortness of breath. You're having to sit down, and then that's when the pain gets relieved. And obviously, this in conjunction with being someone that already has hypertension, already has diabetes, or is a smoker, and again, family history, that these are the red flags that you have to consider, that you might be having a heart attack.
Wow, this is scary. This is scary. And how many people, just go through life without even taking careful consideration of those things, maybe experiencing those symptoms, but ignoring them. And then it just gets worse over time. And before you know it, they're in trouble. Wow. I think I need to get started again. I don't think there's going to be another operating table for me, God forbid.
We pray against that.
We pray against that. But that's also entirely up to me. I think you would agree. It depends on what I put into it, because if I don't put anything into it, I'm not going to get anything out of it at the end of the day. And I want to maybe encourage our viewers out there, those who are watching, please do be careful about, how you conduct your life and how you treat the body. You only have one life to live, which soon will pass. And we're not on this earth forever. We can be healthy today, and then a clean bill of health today, and then all of a sudden, something plays up and goes out of whack, and there you are. And I'm not speaking doom and gloom here. I'm not, being the prophet of doom here tonight. But that is a fact. That is reality. I know of a few people who had had a clean bill of health, and then, wow, they're gone. What happened? What happened? All of a sudden their life was snatched away from them. And may it not be the case with any of our viewers here tonight, or even with yourself and myself. It can happen to doctors too.
Yeah, I talk to doctors all the time. But that's why it's so important to really appreciate each moment. And I know that sounds cliche, because you live in life and you're busy, but it's very important to appreciate each moment that you have, and the time that you share with loved ones. Just sometimes I always just take a step back and look at my family and look what God has blessed me with, and just say thank you and appreciate it in that moment, because you never know when it's going to be snatched away, or how things can change. What is in God's plan in the future.
Right.
And it's very important to appreciate, because you never know when the last time is going to be your last time, or when things are going to change.
Wow, thank you. Yeah, I agree 100% with you. You mentioned something as well, as we wrap up here tonight. You mentioned something about mental health, how the mind is an important part, and I got to thinking while you were talking, how, and you used a word, cortisol. You need to correct me here.
Yes.
How our body releases certain kinds of toxins, and that toxicity within our bodies that our bodies releases during that time. If in particular when we're living a stressful life, or your life is full of anxiety, there's a lot of negativity and all that kind of stuff. Your body releases that. Does that also have a major factor, can it affect your health, and also maybe
definitely all the levels of stress and stress hormones as well. Not only cortisol, if you're constantly in a state of anxiety or your fight or flight hormone, your adrenaline and your sympathetic nervous system kicks in, and that just pounds your heart and puts pressure on your arteries and on your heart, and on your other organs as well. So having high levels of stress for a long time is not good. It's like I think the last time we spoke, we sort of compared it to a car engine, and it's like continually revving your car engine, revving.
Yes.
Eventually something's going to give.
Yeah.
I think in the next episode or next sort of segment, we can go a bit deeper into the mind-heart connection.
All right.
How emotional states and how mental factors affect your health. Yeah, will be a good talk for the next
I think it will be absolutely necessary to do that, Doctor. Um, Look, it's not advice, this is just speaking in general, and I think we all need to be cognizant of these facts and start, living healthier, living better lives, both mentally and spiritually, as well as physical lives. Make the adjustment. Make the adjustment. It might not add 20, 50 years to your life, but you're going to add a little bit longer, more, minutes to your life, and maybe days, weeks, or months. Um,
But
who
again,
knows?
it's like compound interest, small steps daily,
Right.
building, you get
Absolutely.
momentum, and the other thing is if you set small goals, the reward of actually completing these goals motivates you to keep going. Uh,
100%. Yeah.
then who knows, might add 20 years onto your life because of
Yeah.
progression. You don't know where you're going to end.
Yes. Yes, and then of course a healthy diet as well, which is very important. I think we're going to talk about that also as we move along. Yeah, so this segment of our broadcast is dedicated to heart health and healthy living. And thank you, Dr. Grebe. And this program is called The Doctor Is In. So when you find us on live on YouTube, The Doctor Is In. Not to consult tonight, not to give you advice in terms of that you need to go to your GP for, and go and see me if you're not feeling well in your body.
But just
Don't
to
wait.
get us thinking, get us talking,
Yeah.
get us more aware of the importance of our heart and keeping our heart healthy.
Absolutely, sir. Absolutely, sir. Yeah. So yeah, we're going to try and talk about so many things here on this program. We're going to try and keep those toxins, the toxic levels. We're going to try and keep it low, and maybe even try and get rid of them. And I hope that this has helped somebody here who is watching here tonight. Surely it has helped me once again, and it has educated me even more. I need to get back into the routine of exercise and at least take a walk, a long walk. I got myself a treadmill, but you know what? I am so ill-disciplined when it comes to this kind of thing. Winter has made me lazy, and I've gained a few kilos, so I need to get back onto the golf course again. I cannot do the exercise I used to do before, Doc. I realize, I've got a cracked chest here now, and it's being held together by titanium wires, and I don't know what's going to happen.
And I'll join you on a golf course.
Oh wow! Whoa, whoa, whoa! I look forward to that. I look forward to that. Yeah, we need to. Yeah, we need to get together sometime. And for those of you who've been watching here on YouTube tonight, Hope Talk, we do want to say thank you very, very, very much for just connecting, logging on, and for being a part of this program. The Doctor Is In. Like I said, on a weekly basis, we'll be back. There'll be other programs going on and other broadcasts that you can also log on to. But this segment is dedicated especially to heart, mind, and spiritual health, well-being. And Dr. Grebe is so gracious to grace us with his presence and to share his expert knowledge on this matter. It really helped me a lot tonight, and I'm sure it might have helped many others here tonight. So please do share, comment. It's very important that you do so. We look forward to all of those comments. It is valuable to us. We do not take it lightly. We say thank you to you tonight, as we ask if the doctor has anything else to share with us tonight, just in closing, and then we can wrap up this program. Doctor?
I think just in closing, just taking into account everything that was said, I just want to point out that we need to be intentional. The word of the day is intentional, to make the difference, to plan and to execute.
I like that.
And small steps, big results.
Right. I like that very much. Thank you once again, Dr. Grebe. Thank you to your family, your wife. Again, say thank you very much to Stacey for allowing you to be a part of this program. And to all those who've been viewing there, God bless you. Stay healthy. Stay alive. Stay exercising. Eat properly. Sleep well. God bless.
Amen.